It's time for a new co-op game, Kamikaze Veggies. It's both lighthearted and suitably challenging for beginners and expert gamers alike.
Kamikaze Veggies provides missions that make you feel like the ultimate team while you laugh your asses off at the hilarious, over-the-top explosions and violence of mutilated veggies.
The game is currently in early access, and the developers offered us a review code. We love supporting indie developers, so we were thrilled to get the opportunity to check this game out.
Here is our full review and suggestions for this early draft. We look forward to the full release when it becomes available.
In this game, you play as a variety of different veggies, each with their own abilities and weaknesses. Carrotado is the all-rounder, but doesn't have any unique strengths. Brad Peas is a little slower, but is able to double jump. He was always our go-to, especially for the tricky platforming parts. Once he was available, we used him in every level.
There's also Carl M12. He's the same as Carrotado, but has a time limit on him, and once reached, he will automatically explode. PT&T also has a time limit, but with the skills of Brad Peas. We rarely use these because their times were so short. At the start of each level, you have a mission budget to buy your characters. You'll have to be smart with the budget to choose some stronger but more expensive characters like Brad Peas, and you'll have leftover change, enough to buy a few time limit exploding characters like Carl. The character we played least was Big Bent. He's slower but stronger. We didn't really run into a moment where his strength could be utilized.
There are a few slots for other characters, so once the full game gets released, I'm sure we'll see more. I'd like to see some more unique abilities. Maybe a character with better armor that can survive more than one hit, or someone that starts out with a few bombs or even a close-ranged weapon. A character that could climb or swim would be super useful. The one thing that they have all in common is their ability to self-destruct in order to complete the mission, and this is required at least once in every mission, so conserve those veggies as much as possible.
Every level has a single goal, but in order to reach that goal, you'll need to use your stealth abilities to sneak past the different tomato enemies. Sometimes you'll just want to run and jump your way to the goal. That's up to you. At the end of each mission, you are rated by the amount of points earned. You can receive up to 3 stars. You will need specific amounts of stars to unlock future levels, so make sure you aim for the 3-star reward every mission.
You can earn points by finding hidden treasure, killing enemies, and by completing the goal. You'll find items and weapons along the way, bombs, landmines, or my favorite, the shovel. It's a stealth game at its core, but there's also some platforming and minor exploration parts. We found the game to be at its strongest when the focus was on stealth and big explosions. I get how that sounds completely incompatible with one another, but that's just how the game works.
The platforming never quite felt right. It's a little too floaty and leaves you feeling out of control when airbound. Hopefully that gets tightened up in the final release. The whole game can be played in split-screen co-op. Both players are pretty equal in the game. There aren't exactly any moments that require teamwork, but having a partner to assist in taking on the tomatoes definitely helps things move faster. The teamwork required is selecting the veggie players at the beginning of each mission, and they are shared between the two of you. Once they're gone, it's game over, mission failure. Thankfully, if one player is dead and the veggie supply is empty, the remaining player can continue on their own without being booted out of the game.
Once you complete the mission, another island opens up and you fly over with your helicopter to begin the next mission in the war against the communist tomatoes. So far, in the early access mode, there's only 7 levels that can be completed in a short amount of time. I expect the full release to have more levels added, but I felt that the game is perfect at its current length and didn't wear out its welcome. I'm not sure if it would keep my interest if it were a few hours longer.
I'd rather see a handful of a few solid, really polished levels than an artificially inflated game with unnecessary gameplay additions just for the sake of making the game longer. The ending of the game is perfect. It caught us off guard in the best way possible. I hope they keep that in the final version.
There are a few bugs that need to be worked out. First, there are a few parts where the platforming requires high precision and feels too loose. It just didn't feel polished and needs to be tightened up. The humor in the story kind of falls flat in some places, but maybe that's subjective.
And one more thing. Don't forget to say your prayers, ladies.
The parts that made us laugh the most were the kamikaze explosions and throwing your fallen comrades' heads as a weapon.
Soldier, thank you for your sacrifice.
A few glitches we ran into. They were both on the same level. In the platforming on the giant hand, we kept ricocheting off the walls to our deaths, and fell through the floor, also to our deaths. Then we tried to climb the laser tower and were flung off to our deaths twice. I'm sure this will all be worked out in the final cut.
It would be great to see more puzzles built around two players working together simultaneously so that co-op feels like the focus. For example, it would be perfect if the controls of the lenses required both players to operate at the same time. As stated before, the stealth experience was one of the best parts of the gameplay, so it would be fun to have the stealth skill more focused and developed. For example, Metal Gear Solid had parts where you can hide in a cardboard box to sneak around, or tap on the wall to draw the enemy near as you run around behind them. It'd be fun to have these skills in co-op where you take turns distracting enemies, having them go back and forth between them. Maybe it's too much to expect from a game about vegetables, but the stealth genre is due for a fresh new take. And I don't know, maybe this could be the place for some innovative ideas.
Speaking of this, the use of the shovel as a close-range stealth weapon was really clever. It would be great to see more inventive weapon styles that vary between levels. For example, vegetable killers, scissors, forks, frying pans, something like that. Boss fights would be a fun addition to the gameplay. We imagine a giant tomato with a health meter, our veggie soldiers supplied with endless grenades, sneaking around a level to take shots at the formidable foe. Ultimately, we'll take any opportunity for explosions. If you give us more of that, it would be excellent.
Overall, it was a fun experience with plenty of surprises thrown in. With a few improvements, we think this could be a really great game. Even at its current state, we recommend you give it a shot. Great job to the team. We can't wait to try the full version when it's ready.
If you are an indie developer that has a co-op game, contact us. We'd love to play your game. Thanks for watching.
See you on the other side, boy.
Smash that motherfucking like button, you little chode. Bebop, stop, pop, sweat, shotgun, drop, bar, up, flop, chop, slop. Co-op.